Hi, everybody. Welcome to Am I the Asshole podcast. This is Danny Vega, joined by my lovable co-host, Sarah. Sarah, I have huge news for you today.
What is the news?
Sarah, this is our 1 year anniversary. Happy one year to you.
Oh, it's today. That's so exciting.
Because you have tolerated me for a year, I hope you haven't eaten too much. I would like to buy you dinner or desserts, whatever you want on Seamless or Postmates. That's right, people. I will spend the money today because it's the 1 year.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yay.
Thanks so much for putting up with me, Sarah. We've had a lot of good time. We've learned a lot. We talked on the podcast about what we've learned. Do you have anything to say? Because you were a little bit mum on the Patreon.
I know, right? I was just like, what have I learned? I think I've learned a lot about just like etiquette, interpersonal relationships, and it's interesting because, okay, I kind of feel like oftentimes you know what's right or wrong, but you don't really know why. You don't think to try to examine why.
Right.
So this has definitely helped me examine why I think what I think.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel that, well, it's made me able to understand situations more. It's made me more judgy. I'm throwing more judgments, obviously. That's our whole MO here. But it's also made me, think like people do things for reasons. Those reasons, sometimes they are just straight up assholes, but usually it's because they're not thinking. They're not trying. They haven't been able to empathize. They're not really thinking about the full situation, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe they have trauma in their past. Of course they do. I think it's made me a better person. I'm ready to say that, at least in my head. For sure in my head, still working on the, executing part.
I mean, hopefully. I also will say, I think I've learned a lot about gift giving.
Interesting. What specifically?
I feel like we don't have so many anymore, but I feel like we used to in the early days have a lot of situations about like, what to do when you don't like someone's gift. So I think that etiquette has been interesting. I mean, my MO as a person is to just never say anything, which technically does seem to be the move, but it's just interesting to get into the etiquette of why.
Yes. Yeah, it's good. I like going through all the specific etiquettes and I think more generally, it's just good for me to realize like all these situations often can be prevented by as simple as just pull back for a second. And I can be impulsive. And in fact, Sarah, I'm ready to ITA myself.
Oh my God.
Took the old crush. By the way, the crush has come back at me and said crush is the wrong word because crush implies it's not mutual. So she's advocating for squeeze. So I'm moving to squeeze. The squeeze and I do a little staycation in Little Italy. We're having the time of our lives here. Big reco to the Little Italy there right now. It's a little bit popping, not too crazy. You got to wear a mask. They put the temperature gun on you when you enter. So it's like we're still in a pandemic. Anyway, I'm doing well with the crush, with the squeeze. She wants to be wooed. I'm going for the woo, and we're having a great night. And then we go over to Milk and Cream. Are you familiar with Milk and Cream?
I feel like I've heard of it.
So there's a whole thing in New York, guys. It's like basically, I don't know where this became a thing. I mean, I'm a fan of it, but it's like, let's take ice cream. Okay, and add cereal. And that is like a concept that has been riffed on at various places. The original Momofuku Milk Bar, I'm a big fan. Momofuku, can you sponsor me? Throw me some ice cream, baby. Anyway, we go over to Milk and Cream, and it's this is criminal already. It's 10:50 p.m. and they close at 11. So already possibly asshole territory. There's a very clearly demarcated line, which no one is regarding, a social distancing kind of line. But also just a line, like don't, respect the line.
Like people a line to order or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then, they have like duct tape on the ground to be like, hey, step back a bit. So anyway, We're in the line. I order, I place the order, but then I go, oh, wait, cancel that because they didn't have syrup. And so I moved.
Wait. You're putting syrup on ice cream?
Yes, it was what my initial order was cereal milk flavored ice cream with Fruity Pebbles and strawberry syrup. And I really thought this was going to be a banger. And the guy said, I'm sorry, sir. we're out of strawberry syrup. And I said, okay, cancel that. And I'm going to get instead the Cocoa Pebble, fuck whatever. I don't know what it was called. And he goes, okay. So then we get our order and they gave me the Fruity Pebble thing. He didn't understand. And so then I had to go, I took one bite of the Fruity Pebble and I go, this isn't doing it. I wanted the one I ordered. And I went to the front and I told them that there was a mistake. And then they here's the thing, Sarah. They said, okay, no problem. We'll get that out right for you. I didn't charge you for the other one, so we'll just replace it. So basically, Sweet. I was getting exactly what I wanted. They just didn't say what happened clearly. And this is where I crossed the line because I said, no, you put it in wrong. I said, cancel it. And they're like, yes, we're still going to give you what we already said we would. You already won, basically. And the squeeze was like, that was out of line.
They were basically like, all right, keep that. We're going to give it to you for free. And we'll just bring you the new one.
Yeah, they took it. They took it away.
Oh.
But it was just that they got this. He tried to say the story like I did something wrong or like I was confused. But my ego got in the way. And I felt the need to, even though I was already getting the ice cream that I wanted and they had already agreed to give it to me, I still had to be right on top of that. I had to put syrup, if I'm speaking dumb. Metaphorically. It was dumb, Sarah. It was dumb. And I Karen'd and I owned it, ITA, and the crush called me out. The squeeze was like, that was a little bit rude. You didn't need to do that. And so that's it. I'm outing myself and I was embarrassed.
Because also I will say that when you regaled that story, when you said, oh, just cancel it, it kind of sounded like you were just referring to the syrup part of it. So I wasn't there taking your order, but I could already see how the ambiguity might have happened.
100%. I take ownership. It was a move of ego. I got my ice cream. I ate it like a little pig boy. I scarfed it down. I finished it before my squeeze finished hers, and she had a 5-minute lead. It was disgusting how I ate this, and I was the asshole.
All right. Well, hopefully it will lead to less asshole-nish in the future. Nish.
I'm trying. Now I feel like I'm lying to listeners because I'm like, the pods made us better, and then I'm telling this story about how I'm a Karen at the ice cream store.
Honestly, you have a Karen streak. It's like pretty.
Oh, don't do that to me, Sarah. Is that true?
Danny, you've told me so many Karening stories. My version
Sarah, what the fuck is this? You're gonna drop this on our 1 year that you're calling me the
You
K
have
word?
Karen tendencies. I said it was a streak.
Well,
but you know this
example?
about yourself. The thing with the step, the times you've offered to like SEO bomb various businesses.
OfferUp is a criminal enterprise. Do not equate that. They are ripping people off. They're criminals. They're crooks. The only comparable organization I can even think of that's like OfferUp is Al-Qaeda. Okay,
oh
they
my
are
God.
Literally, they are domestic terrorists. What was the other one you said? The step? What?
The step at the hotel where you're like, hey, this step's slightly uneven.
It was a dangerous step. How dare you? When it comes to safety, I will not back down. These Europeans don't have a respect for safety. They don't realize that if someone could really hurt themselves. But I was a Karen at the ice cream store, but I'm not backing off Stepgate, even though this person wrote in on our YouTube and was like, yeah, that's how Europe works. We're families that have had businesses for hundreds of years, and then you Americans come and are like, make it safe, put up yellow tape, and put up a sign that says uneven step. And we're not going to do that because we're Europe and we're old. Okay, well, I have an AITA. I'm probably not going to do it, but basically a cool package was delivered to me. However, it's not addressed to anyone that lives here. So should I I was like, part of me was tempted, but I'm like, wait, that's also a felony. Is there a name that's not yours?
It's not mine. It's not my roommate's.
Sarah,
I don't know.
What? This is madness. You have to, you say return to sender. You can't just open a package.
Darn it. It's a FabFitFun box.
I am not impressed with us right now. We're like, it's been a year and I'm like, I was a dick last weekend and Sarah's ready to do mail fraud.
Yeah.
What's in the box? How do you know that it's something cool?
Because it's branded. I was like, ooh, I thought it was for me, but then I looked closer at the name and was like, darn it. So FabFitFun, it looks pretty cool this season. I wouldn't know from what's inside. I'm just judging it by the box.
Get out of that box, Sarah. You gotta return to sender. Now, while I'm digging both Sarah and I's grave here, I got some juice for the next app because I posted on the Facebook group this thing I did about a year ago where I entered a girl's booth at a cafe and I was eviscerated, crucified. This actually may be the end of me. There was a faithful listener and someone I almost consider a friend because we've had like Facebook message chats and stuff. And she was like, I'm angry. She posted a reply to her own comment like, I'm still angry about this hours later. So she's still mad at me. So I don't know if I'm going to survive this.
I don't think it was that bad. I think it was weird to do for sure, but I don't think it wasn't mail fraud. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Clearly, your true crime streak is you're becoming the criminal. That's what's happening. Big ups to our new Patreons. We're sort of doubling down here and going with the Judge Judys. Welcome to the Judge Judys, JJ, Chrissy, and Paige. We love to see it, guys. We'd really appreciate if you would rate, review, and subscribe if you want more AITA pod content. We only need 6 more patrons, and we'll be doing weekly bonus episodes. Please force Sarah to tolerate me more. Come on, she's done it for a year. This will double up the bonuses. Patreon.com/AITA pod. I know some of you. Danny, if you plug that stupid thing again, I'm gonna kill you, and you should kill me. Just actually kill me, please.
I don't think anyone said that.
You don't think anyone's annoyed with all the plugs? No. I feel guilty about plugging.
No, this is par for the course. You're getting an ad-free podcast. We don't have FabFitFun advertising, although now I've given them like 4 free ads. I'm just saying.
Well, and I'll throw in another fuck Delta to follow up on last episode. Great. These motherfuckers, if you guys didn't hear it, these bastards, these OfferUp-esque sons of bees, they refuse to honor my travel credit despite the fact that there's a global pandemic. And then they have the nerve. They email me. They go, oh, soup, sorry. We moved your flight. Oopers. Huh? And I booked a flight for 9 p.m. And they're like, flight change, flight remix to 3 p.m. And I'm like, well, the whole point is I didn't want to miss work. That's why I booked it for that time. So
can you move it for free?
Well, yeah, but then I have to call them and it's a whole thing. If I could just go in and change my flight, I'm like, no big deal. But then I went to the website, I try to use it and it's like, sorry, there's an error. You have to call us. And I'm like, okay, thanks for the inconvenience.
That is annoying.
So I was at a party yesterday and I stumbled on this thing.
You're at a party on a Monday? Wait, a Tuesday? Wow, respect.
It was an anniversary for a dog and a dog owner. It was beautiful. I loved it.
It's cute.
He's a very good boy. His name is Beck, and he actually licked me a lot, which made me feel cool. I kind of felt like, I won the party for a while because the dog was kind of all over me, tried to make out with me, which I did not allow.
I'm glad.
But I stumbled upon this term, woo-woo. Have you heard of the woo-woo, Sarah? This is great.
When I talk about woo-woo, I think people who believe in essential oils and astrology.
Yeah.
But I think you mean something else.
Yeah, so this is the new DTR. Some people don't know DTR. Define the relationship. This is the part of the relation where you're gonna say boyfriend, girlfriend, exclusive, whatever it may be. Not to be heteronormative, people. You get us. Woo-woo, though. I love it. It's a lot of fun. Define the relationship: sterile, clinical, old. Woo-woo. What's up with us? W-U-W-U. Woo-woo.
Oh my God, is that what the kids are calling it now? Gen Z?
I don't know. Someone said it at this party and I'm like, I'm all in on woo-woo. And they're like, why are you pointing at me? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's funny. Well, whatever you call it, it's interesting.
Yes, it is interesting. And here's your little squeeze update, everybody. We're recording this on Wednesday, August 26th. I'm going to ask the squeeze woo-woo on Saturday. I booked us a little din at a hummus place, and I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. So
holy shit. Can you guys fucking believe that Danny was single for 2 full days, 48 hours, and I have been single in this godforsaken city for almost half of a decade? Can you fucking believe it? Because I actually can't.
I feel for you, Sarah. I mean, I will I will admit, I guess I don't judge you, but have you thought maybe it's you?
Obviously, I'm in therapy.
Right. Well, I mean, look, there's been times over the course of this podcast, there's been literally dozens of times where you've told me about dates you've gone on, and I'm like, what a piece of shit. I hate him, and you are right to extricate yourself from that. But there have been a couple of times, many fewer, where I've thought, I feel like you're being a little rough on this guy, or like a guy is chasing you and then you're not attracted to him.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about. And the fun plot twist about him is that we kind of hooked up again and then flip-flopped, where like I wanted to date and he didn't. And then he left New York without telling me.
Oh God, brutal.
And yeah. And then like made a big show about like maybe coming back to visit. And when I made it clear, like, yeah, I would see you in a park, AKA, you're not coming to my apartment in a pandemic and like, we're not going to hook up because we're going to hang out in public. He never spoke to me again.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
This is validating for you because this is just another fuck-ass fuckboy, and it's bullshit. And I'm sick of these guys. Come on, people. What is it?
I mean, I definitely know that I am the problem, but the mystery is why. So that's my true crime podcast for myself.
Do you think that, I mean, we've talked about this. Do you think you're a little closed off potentially? Or how do you look
I don't
at it?
believe that's a real criticism. I do not buy it.
Do you have any hypothesis?
The types of people that I'm attracted to, like, I think I just don't pick up on red flags soon enough, basically, is like the boiled down version.
So you're wasting a lot of time chasing human
Not even
fires.
chasing, but like, getting swept up in like these, fuckboy types. And then by the time I realize that they're fuckboys, it's like kind of a little too late. Like I'm in slightly too deep.
So if you're not getting the red flags, though, is there also a corollary where maybe you're not attracted to guys who actually would be more viable for a boyfriend status or something like that, and you're not attracted to them for whatever reason?
I mean, I can think of like maybe 2 people that I'm not attracted to that might be attracted to me, but I don't know if that made any sense. I'm really not rejecting very many people. I'm not out here like shooting a bunch of people down. It's like, yeah.
Right. Well, Sarah, I'm a big fan of the show, and I think it's great you're in therapy. And look, the thing is, I'm pushing back on you because I'm curious, but is it totally plausible to me that New York is literally a city of fuckboys? It's not plausible. I already know it's true because I'm hearing from everyone that it's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the apps and I was angry right away. I was like, I can't believe this is what's happening. I don't want to do this with these people.
Dating apps are hard. I was talking to my friend about this last night, and it's like, the problem is that it's so face forward. I'm actually very like personality oriented, but on a dating app, I way overanalyze everything, and it's like this. It's like that meme of like someone trying to walk through like a laser field where it's like me trying to find a guy who's like attractive but not too attractive. It's very impossible on a dating app when you can't get like a sense of their like charisma or lack of.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm terrible at it. I feel like, I went on a few dates, but I was very like, ugh, I mean, I hate to word it this way, but I was like, I can do a lot better than this. I know way better people than the people I'm pulling in on these apps. And that's a reflection of me, like it's a whole game. I really hate it. I feel for those people out there on the apps, using the apps. Ugh.
Also, a lot of the problem is like people who are good at texting and like good at having like a fun texting convo are like not the people that you really want to date. Like I had this really good back and forth with this guy and I was like, oh, he seems super great, super fun. We met up and like the first thing he told me literally was how he has this theory that 5 out of 5 women like being choked in bed. And I was like, okay, I can't with you. Like I'm out of here.
Wow. To open with that is just beyond wild.
Yeah.
I don't even know
his first
what the
anecdote
is there.
I was like, okay.
I don't even understand what he's going for. I mean, it's just like, what are you trying to prove? What are you doing, a survey? Is that what this is?
I guess.
Anyway, folks, go ahead and reach out to us if you want to tell us anything about the dating apps. I always like to hear about these. I mean, that was one of the most memorable ones that we did, and it very much shaped my behavior, actually. Speaking of how the pods impacted me, this was a while ago, Sarah. The guy who went on one of these dates and he left after 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that was fucked up. I was like, are you Barney Stinson? You can't, like, lemon law people in real life.
So crazy.
Unless they're being like morally offensive to you, then go for it.
Yeah, this guy just left because he was like, well, I'm gonna go fuck you, so I'm gonna go. It's like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that did influence my behavior because at least I knew where to start, and I tried to give these gals
15 minutes is where you start.
Exactly. And I tried to give them a thorough date, and I didn't bring up the choking talking point. I was a damn good boy. I asked them questions about themselves, and, and I cried. Maybe I cried a little, but that's, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a sensitive man.
Yes.
People, we got one heck of an ep for you today. Our second story of the day, AITA for telling my husband that his culture is garbage. Brutal.
Ooh.
But first, a mutated Dear Abby, AITA for keeping the hobby cash. I don't know why, this just kind of grabbed me. A lot of interesting issues here.
Yeah.
My wife and I retired 5 years ago. I have adequate savings and an excellent pension for us to live comfortably. I took up a hobby 3 years ago that generates about $5,000 in annual income, which I put aside in a separate bank account. My wife asked, what are you saving that money for? I said, maybe a classic car, helping with a family reunion on my side, etc. She responded, we need to be on the same page about how it gets spent because half of it is mine. When I reached out to my son for his insight, he sided with her because legally half of what I have is hers. I have no problem consulting with her on a major expenditure coming out of our other savings, but on this one, I feel she is controlling and petty. Your thoughts?
Woo.
AITA. It was for Dear Abby, so.
Right. They don't ask AITA for Abby.
They should. Everyone should switch to AITA.
They should. We'd have a lot more material. This is interesting. My initial instinct, but again, I am a long-term single person who never has to think of anyone else, is, yeah, that's his money. She shouldn't be asking for half of it.
Right, it's kind of like technically the truth. It's like, yes, that is how this works legally, but it's kind of like,
right.
This is extra money that your hobby brought you in, whatever it may be. It's probably something involving cars since he's doing cars. So maybe he's fixing up cars and reselling them or something like that. And I just sort of feel like, why would you be controlling about that if it's kind of over and above what you're already making as a couple? And I thought it was very reasonable the way he said, well, yeah, if I spend a lot of money, I'm still going to clear it with her because, it is their money. So he's still sort of honoring that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's interesting that he says, I have adequate savings and an excellent pension for us to live comfortably and not we.
Yeah, so maybe she's not bringing in really any money. Actually, that's good because that is making me shift a little bit. If it's sort of like she is like a stay-at-home mom, so she really doesn't generate any income.
Maybe. Well, this is my wife and I retired, so I hope that she was working.
Well, yeah, but maybe, whatever. She sacrificed a lot of her career to care for the kids, something like that.
Maybe.
So then she has more of a feeling of like, well, yeah, my income was severely reduced. And so, yeah, sure, this happens to be from a hobby, but it's like, I gave up my career for our kids, now my earning potential was severely damaged by that choice for us and our kids.
Right. Potentially. That's a good read.
Sarah C says, I'm strongly inclined to say NTA. My husband and I discuss all purchases over a few $100s just because it feels respectful to do so since our money is shared. But it's not like we keep a ledger to make sure it's all split 50-50. But I feel like there might be missing information here. Definitely. I mean, I want to know more about the sort of structure of the relationship. On its face, though, to make extra money, I'm like, why would you be controlling about it? And I mean, I don't really like the way she put it. What are you saving that money for? No, you know what? It is a little abrupt, but it's kind of a valid question. And then he answered it. We need to be on the same page about how it gets spent. I'm with her there, but because half of it is mine, that
overstep.
It's an overstep, but it's technically true.
Yeah, but I think there are a lot of things that are technically true that you don't really say. half of it is mine in the event that we're to like split up, and you know, I'm assuming they don't have an ironclad prenup, but you know what I mean? It's like technically you're not supposed to have to get to that point where you're dividing your assets.
Right. It feels a little mean. It feels very controlling.
Feels a bit like a jab.
It is very jabbish. And I think maybe if she was feeling this way, I understand the feeling, especially if I kind of make this assumption that, you know, there's an income disparity and she sacrificed her career or something like that, then I just wish she could have said, you know, I feel some kind of way about it. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel that I don't know why I'm having a feeling that I'm entitled to half of it. I think that's a very powerful way to express yourself, because she is having a feeling and it is upsetting her. But this sort of money grab, well, that's a jab, as you said.
Yeah, or maybe it's just like, you know, that $5,000 a year could get you a nice vacation. It could get you something nice for the both of you, instead of like, my husband is hoarding money for unknown reasons.
Yeah. If she had come at it and said like, hey, I'm feeling a little jealous. I'm feeling a little like you're saving that money for your thing. But when was the last time we went on a vacay? Mm-hmm. And I feel, that would be so much different. But you're right, to go to this very litigious kind of worst case scenario divorce endgame, it's just ugly. It's not pleasant. It's mean.
It's a weird way to word it, for sure.
Jenny L says, in the way my husband and I live, I would consider this an a-hole move, but we put all our money into one account, and after bills, if there is extra money, we buy any fun stuff we want, and we generally talk about those purchases together. I make 3 times as much as my husband, but there is no, this is your money and this is mine, no making it fair, dividing things. It's all our money. We're not roommates. We're a family. So if your whole marriage has been one big pot that you've always shared, then yeah, you're the asshole. But if you're one of those couples who have always kept finances separate, then I guess not the asshole.
Seems fair to me.
Yeah, I think this is a great insight too, because what this really is about is, what is the dynamic here? How does this work? How does this hobby fit into things? I think it's very easy for me to just say, oh, he picked up a hobby, but like, the hobby takes up time, and that's part of the family system. Mm-hmm. And there are rules that have been established. Maybe the wife picked up an old, what are those MLMs you like, Sarah? I don't know what they're called. NuvaRing or whatever the fuck they're called.
That is a birth control. Let's go with Mary Kay.
Mary Kay. I knew it had a ring like that. So Mary Kay, and then, you know, she made $3,000 one year and she put it right into the pot. So it's very important. What is the precedent? And I think it's important that couples talk about this shit, mm-hmm. because I think that is almost more relevant than just saying like, oh, it's a hobby and it's extra money that came out of nowhere, you know?
Mm-hmm. Also, if it was Mary Kay, she would be losing $3,000 a month.
Hey, some people make money on those things, like Avon.
I feel like my mom start Avon.
The founder of Avon made
Mr. Avon made money on Avon.
I seem to remember, I got to check with my mom, but I seem to remember my mom bought a shit ton of Avon things. It was Avon was like, I feel like, was Avon a pyramid scheme? Is it the same shit?
It still is. Yep. There actually used to be a store on Steinway Street. They had a whole Avon store and then it shut down. I was like, damn, really?
Wow.
Crazy. Anyway.
Lauren H writes, YTA, if you share everything, then yes, it should be half hers. I would do this if it was my hobby and share with my husband.
I guess I wonder if her response is coming from a, like, this has never been a thing.
Yeah, exactly. It seems, I mean, if we're going to take the wife at the best way possible, half of it is mine. We're sort of reading that as litigious, but maybe that's just the way they've done business.
Right. Maybe they've never really had, this is my money, this is your money. So to all of a sudden do that, you know, I could see why it would rub her the wrong way.
Exactly. Vanessa F says, does OP use mutual funds to support the hobby? Does he take time away that he could be using to help with chores or other things they might do together? Does she have to sacrifice any time for him to pursue the hobby? How much has he invested? Does she earn money from hobbies that she shares with her spouse? So many unanswered questions, but I'm leaning YTA. I think that's a great insight. You know, we talked about the time, but we don't know the other expenditures. Are we getting a balance sheet from this motherfucker? I want to see invoices. I want to see the freaking cash in and out of this little hobby.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is Dear Abby, not We're the IRS.
I know, right? But I mean, I think that the fact that he's not going into any of this and hasn't maybe considered it and has this very reductive view, it is starting to push me away from NTA. I think I might be going NAH on this because I don't know.
Because it does seem like he's maybe oversimplifying it.
Absolutely. He's investing his time. He's probably, what hobby doesn't take some kind of money to put in? And if they have a shared pot, this is really bullshit. He's just focusing now on the money that he's bringing in, but we know you spent money. Everything, it costs money to make money. Come on, oldest phrase in the book there.
Yes.
Christopher T, NAH. I don't think there are any assholes here, just an old couple bickering.
That's true.
It's not the most thoughtful comment, but actually pretty on point. Toots F, definitely need more info. I'm leaning YTA. How much money from your joint savings did you use to start this hobby business? I think that's very on point. A lot of people landing there. Donna R, really? If you died tomorrow, it would all be hers. I see you being controlling. You want it to only benefit you. That's a pretty good point. It's a pretty good point. Yeah, that's kind of sad too, that he feels a need to help with a family reunion on his side. It is a little weird. He's put the money on the side for his own personal thing. What about her shit? You're supposed to be on the same team. Wow, I'm really moving on this.
I don't know what to think anymore.
Well, Dear Abby doesn't offer a shit. She says Dear Hobby because that's how Dear Abby does it. They don't have usernames on Dear Abby, so it just kind of gives you a little synecdoche to kind of refer to you. She said, Dear Hobby, I agree with you. Not only that, but she also lacks tact.
That's it.
Fuck you, Dear Abby.
Abby usually writes like essays. She gave us 2 sentences. Are you kidding?
She's losing it.
Abby,
she's losing
what the hell? We were rooting for you.
She's slacking. I don't know what she's doing.
Falls on us now.
AITA for keeping the hobby cash. I guess I could call it an info. I think I like to say info because I don't believe in the way this has been conveyed has all the necessary information. I really think that's where it boils down.
That is true. I could go NaH because it doesn't, based on the limited info we have, I could go that way too.
Yeah, she said, I don't know. I'm almost
She does lack tact, but I just don't believe that this woman like completely said this in a vacuum. I think most people don't come out swinging like this.
Yeah, and I mean, is tact really part of it? You've been with someone for their whole life and you're expected to use tact? I can't even come for her for not using tact.
I can. I wouldn't say something like this. Oh, half of that's mine. It's like, all right.
No, but Sarah, you're not this is like a 40-year-long freaking relationship.
Yeah, I can come for the lack of tact a bit, because that's the only reason he's even writing in,
I wouldn't equate it to tact. I would equate it to kind of being aggressive.
Yeah, whatever you want to. I think you're kind of, it's like splitting hairs.
Yeah. I guess I'm splitting hairs here. All right, so you're saying NaH. I can meet you at NaH or info, something like that.
Let's
talk about it. Talk about it, people. This is a classic case of just, freaking talk this shit through. Come on.
Talk about it. Guys, please rate, review, and subscribe. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Only 6 more patrons, and we'll do a weekly bonus episode. That's 2 episodes every week. Wow, can you imagine listening to us that often? It's going to be great. And yes, force me to hang out with Danny more for only $5 a month. You can't beat it.
See, guys, I mixed it up. I had Sarah do the read. That was fun, right?
Fun.
That was fun.
More fun stuff in the Patreon.
AITA for telling my husband that his culture is garbage. A lot of husband-wife shit. We're very marital this week.
Yeah.
This is great.
Because Danny's wedding is going to be next week at this rate.
Okay, enough of that. Don't put fear in my heart. By you, southernculturetw. My husband and I live in the U.S. Northeast, where I'm from. John, in quotes, moved here for work several years ago from the deep south of the U.S., where he grew up. Raised with Christian holidays, but never attending church. Coincidentally, shortly before everything hit, John's parents and his childhood best friend, Dan, and his wife decided to move here as well. This past weekend was the first that us 3 couples have gathered together since any of us moved here. We had a distance picnic at our house. John sat down 2 to 3 minutes after I did as he was settling our kid into his pen in the yard with us. Dan and my father-in-law immediately started to jokingly rip on him for being whipped and doing my job of parenting our child while he was supposed to be allowed to just catch up with the 2 other men. I was trying to politely deflect when it turned to how mean I was for not fixing him a plate and serving him before serving myself. If I thought a certain dish would run out before he got to it, or if he had asked me to, I of course would have. Dan and father-in-law continue to brag about how their families do it right, where they handle the outside chores while their wives handle the inside chores, including the care of Dan and his wife's 2 children. I think it's important to note here that both currently live in rented condos that by their nature do not have quote unquote outdoor chores, and both their wives have always worked full-time, as do I. The whole day was kind of wrecked by that start. I was frustrated when John left with Dan and father-in-law to go for a walk and left me to do all the cleanup alone while also looking after our kid. I expected John to apologize when he returned hours later, but instead he got at me for making him look bad in front of his friend and dad. He brought up how a quote-unquote traditional division of labor is a huge part of Southern culture and how it was being disrespectful to his background by forcing Northern culture onto him and his family. He said he's been building up a lot of resentment the past few months that I make him do half the chores and childcare, since in his culture, women do the chores and hands-on childcare and men do the fun parenting, the discipline, mow the grass, and bring in the cars for oil changes when needed. I was stunned but honest and told him Southern culture is garbage. It's bigotry. I lived in John's home state for 8 years, and I saw how Southern hospitality is reserved only for those in your in-group. Deviate from the norm, be queer, non-Christian, a person of color, a liberal, non-traditional woman, and they turn on you viciously. Does every single person act like that? Always? No, but it's the culture. John is livid and says his culture is just as valid as that of other global regions, religions, and ethnic groups. So I'm the bigot by not compromising with him here and incorporating aspects of his culture into our family life the way I would if his culture was Islamic or Asian or whatnot.
Oh.
Actually, let me read that again. It was Islamic or Asian or whatnot. You know all them. AITA.
Boo. A big fat boo to this guy.
Obviously, this guy sucks big time, but I think my first question is, y'all married and didn't talk about this? Like,
I mean,
how did this not surface? Where were you?
Okay, I'm going to give this guy the B of the D. And I kind of think that his dad and his friend just like ripped on him and got into his head. And,
yes.
And like, I don't believe that he was this way the whole time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think that the dad and the father-in-law just started whispering in his ear and like putting these thoughts into his head.
I love that analysis. I think you're on point. I think, and he's feeling emasculated, which puts him in a tough place emotionally. You know, you've got your father shit talking you and your friend shit talking you. And that's a lot. That's going to put you in a very defensive and confused place. And, you know, you're basically I mean, it's your dad too. I mean, it's very tough to kind of take a step back and realize what it is, especially if, you know, you grew up in that environment and you haven't really thought through like what's going on.
Yeah, I also personally, again, like despise men who think that they get bonus points for being a parent. Like, that drives me up the wall. I don't know why, because I have no dog in that fight. But like I feel like you constantly see it like, oh, dad's babysitting tonight. Like, no, dad is parenting.
Right.
You never hear, oh, mom's babysitting, because no, you just call that mothering.
No, of course
not. Mom is doing her mom duties. Like, you never even question it.
100%. It's a weird thing that people say. I mean, I think the commenters really nailed this. John B says it's 2020, not 1820. He needs to put on his big boy pants and be a partner. Stephanie N says sexism is not a culture. I'm so sorry.
It's also pretty lame if that's all you think that your culture amounts to. Like, that is not culture.
Well, the thing is, it is and it was a culture. It's still there. But I think the funny thing to me is it's like, well, yeah, that culture did actually make some sense in a world where women didn't work because, you know, culture itself was sexist or the greater society was sexist. But it's like women are now earning and they're earning more than men slowly but surely. They're getting more educated than men. So you don't get to just keep your traditional gender roles. You got to man up, so to speak, and realize that like women and men are on a fast track to equality, you know, especially in the Northeast where you get a lot of career driven women. It's just like, that's just not on the table because it's ridiculous. It's a huge double standard at that point and at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say we're on like a fast track. I would like to think that, but I guess I think what's kind of interesting about this is like, from my impressions, like, you know, when you think of the 1950s or like these quintessential housewives, like you don't just think of it in the South, like you think of it everywhere.
Right,
So
right.
it's kind of like, oh, you're proud of the fact that you never progressed? Like, that's a very weird flex.
I think the thing is, I personally obviously think that traditional gender roles are ridiculous. I mean, I've always sought women who I want to be my partner. It's funny because a lot of people on Twitter mock straight people for co-opting the term partner. But all I mean by that, sorry, I'm not trying to steal it, okay? I just mean an equal relationship. That's how I am. You know, I guess all I would say is that there are people, there are men and women who want a more traditional gender setup, and there's nothing wrong with that. Where it gets dicey is when you're unable to realize, like, look, if she's going to work and you're going to work, you're both working. It's not the 50s, and so yeah, of course you have to do half the housework. Like, what?
Right.
Of course you do.
Yeah, no, it's like you can't just, this is just what annoys me. It's like you can't just expect your partner to like do everything and also work just because she's a woman. Like, fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I was very, very aware of this because, you know, I was in a relationship where my girlfriend was the breadwinner, and I was very curious about what caused problems in relationships and stuff like that. I would read up a lot about it, and then one of the strongest predictors of divorce was or relates to unequal housework. And it was very consistently found where even in situations where women were the breadwinner or whatever, their careers were comparable, that women were still doing a large majority of the housework. And I knew that. And so I always tried to, you know, make up for that and actually try to do more than her because, you know, I knew it was a pain point, and I knew she also worked a lot more hours than me. And I think that's part of it. You got to be aware of these things. Like in the last situation, you know, this woman said she makes 3 times more than her husband. And it's not about the money per se, because, you know, maybe she works in finance and he works in media or whatever, but it's about the workload and being aware of that.
There are many men out there who've just like grown up, you know, taking for granted that the woman would do all this housework, which is work. And it's annoying because I feel like people don't consider it work until they have to do it.
It's work. And actually, it's expensive. I tried to get a cleaner. I had to pay up the ass for this shit. She did a great job, though. It was worth every penny. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is worth it because I do not want to deep clean my shit like ever.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a solution here, too. It's like if you hate the housework, the answer isn't...
He doesn't hate the housework. He hates being told what to do. He hates that he can't just like gallivant around and like is actually going to get challenged and like hold to a standard.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was shamed. I mean, I'm almost ready to say ESH in the sense that he is being an asshole, but I think he's very impulsively reacting here.
So
and
what?
It's the dad and the friend who are assholes. So it's like all. Well, yeah, I guess it's not ESH. It's still NTA.
Oh, yeah. The wife. I was like, Danny, the wife doesn't suck for this. Okay,
No,
but yeah. I mean, the friends suck too.
Sarah O writes, born and raised in Texas, throw the whole man away. He sucks. Myrna F, pushing back that this is a culture at all, says, living in the South, in the Bible Belt, no one here considers that a culture.
I think that's a very lazy argument to like lean on misogyny. Like, I don't like, that's not real. It can be part of the culture in the sense that it's ingrained, but it's not like, oh yeah, we like grits and also we hate women. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like equating it to hating women. To me, it's a very
clear... not respecting them.
Well, yeah, it's a clear unfairness, and that's why there really is no debate, because it's like in a world where women are working comparably to men, like you have to work comparably to the woman that you're in a relationship with, because that's fair. It's that simple. So it's I mean, it's ridiculous. But you're right. I think he is leaning on the cultural argument and trying to paint this whole thing. And then she's kind of going in on Southern hospitality, which I think is a thing I like.
But I think that just pertains to the, like, not like, you know, being friendly to people. In my experience,
yes, exactly.
I didn't consider Southern hospitality to have anything to do with division of labor. It would be like, I would go to Chick-fil-A and I'd be like, is the guy at the counter trying to flirt with me? And they're like, no, he's just being nice. You know, we make eye contact with people here. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've done shows in the South and kind of felt like I bombed or didn't do all that well. And then people come up to me at the show and they're like, you're a great comedian. And I'm like, I fucking love the South. I don't know why we bash on this place. But I mean, I do think OP is right. There is something kind of contradicting about Southern hospitality and then the lack of openness associated with some people who live in the South. You know, you're going to hear a lot of...
I think her critique of the same culture he's trying to lean on is valid, so...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should be so monolithic about it because I don't think Southern culture is inherently sexist, and there's a lot that I like about it. There is a politeness, there is a level... It's actually a weird kind of formality to Southern culture, which I kind of enjoy.
I think what she's getting at is true. It's like, it's politeness, but just because you're polite doesn't mean that it's not actually necessarily being like a decent person.
Right. Just because you're polite doesn't mean you're not being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I think we agree. AITA for telling my husband that his culture is garbage. I guess the only other final point is that, well, I like the way you put this, Sarah, and like attacking someone's culture is potentially not the best way to do this. So I don't think it's the best route. I think the route here is to kind of point out, like, are you sure you're having these feelings because you really feel this way, or is it because your dad was giving you shit all day? But nonetheless, I think we agree. NTA and then the husband and the father-in-law and the friend are the asshole.
Big time.
Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of this show. I got a survey that proves it. AITA, listener submissions, that is, of course. AITA for getting mad at my roommate for fist bumping. Me and my roommate went to a casual fast food place to grab dinner. He's a very friendly guy, makes friends everywhere. We order. By the end of our transaction, he's buddy-buddy with the guy who helped him a few nights before and remembered. So as we're leaving, my roommate reached his hand out and fist bumped, all caps, the food worker.
Fist bumped?
I feel like the worker reacted and automatically responded to this greeting. I told my roommate not to touch food workers or anyone for that matter right now. He follows safety protocols, but I think the quarantine is getting to him. He got all irritated and said there's already cross-contamination. Yeah, true, but at no point is touching a food worker necessary. AITA for telling him that, or am I reacting appropriately?
I don't think limiting this to food worker, like, that's a weird line to draw. You know, like, I don't think you should be touching strangers right now at all.
Yeah, there's no touching. Like, avoid touching.
Regardless of where they work. No touchy.
No touchy. It's a simple rule. Always err on the side of no touchy.
Right.
I think Lisa F. put it well. NTA, we all need a reminder these days. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, come on. Basically, their roommate said the obvious thing, like, don't do that. Why would you touch someone? Why would you do that?
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I wonder why the OP made it about this person being a food worker or server or whatever, and not just being another person.
Oh, Sarah, give me a break. They're a food worker. Well, yeah, it's because they touch food all day. It's not what you're saying. This is food.
I don't know what point you think I'm trying to get at, but I just think you could be like, dude, just don't touch people right now. Like, don't touch strangers.
Well, yeah, generally speaking, sure. But it was a food worker, so I said a food worker. I mean, a food worker is a particularly egregious example because they're touching food.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like this person went about it maybe weirdly. Also, if they did it in front of the server, then I would say they're probably the asshole.
Oh, okay. So you're like picturing this where he fist bumps the food worker, and then the roommate's like, "Don't touch food workers." So it's almost like reducing him to just a food worker.
I just think no, not really. I just think it would be like embarrassing to say that in front of that person.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're reaching here, but
I don't think like there's anything wrong with the term food worker. I just think it's weird to like specify to that extreme when it should really just be like, just don't go out of your way to like make physical contact with strangers.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they were like outside the place and he said food worker, well, it'd be like if you're at the Verizon store and it's like, bro, don't touch a Verizon worker.
Yeah, it's like just
like, what?
It's like, don't talk to this guy. Like,
yeah, I guess it's a little weird. Annie M says, yeah, it seems like YTA, the employee could easily go wash his hands or change his gloves. Touching your money card, cash register guarantee had more germs than bumping fists. No, Annie, I don't think that's true. I think they've said that the skin to skin is like the worst you can do, and that puts your mouth near their mouth. You don't have to touch anything if you use a card. I use the card all the time. I only touch my card. I don't have to touch the little shit.
I think either way, this is all pretty minimal. What's worse is them presumably being like inside somewhere for enough time for this guy to like become his friend. I don't think the fist bump is a huge deal if they both wash their hands, but I'm not a doctor.
I think the fist bump is a line cross. You initiated a touch. It's like, it's not really an asshole move. It was an unthinking move.
And if the person is at work, like we have this whole the customer is right philosophy, and they're probably like, oh, now, you know, they're going to do it back. It would be awkward for them to be like, oh, I'm not going to fist bump you.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I'm not blaming the employee at all. They were put in a bind and an awkward thing. But like, you know, I don't really like this. Oh, no, you can go to I've been eating out. I've gone to a few restaurants. They put in measures, you know, you could go in and they have it set up. I mean, you can't go in anywhere in New York. So I don't know if they're going literally inside, but
I'm not coming for them. I'm just saying like this fist bump versus touching the money is like, to me, that seems pretty not a huge deal.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that, Sarah. Fist bump, you're touching someone. That's so much closer.
A fist bump is literally just like you're tapping them. And I said if they both wash their hands after and don't touch their face.
Well, yeah, but then they have to do that. Otherwise, they can spread it. I mean, I think it's weird, and it shows a weird lack of sensitivity and awareness to go for a fist bump right now. That's not the same crime as merely going out somewhere to eat, assuming you're wearing masks and doing all the proper things. Like, that's not some kind of sin. I think it's good to go out to eat and support the businesses and stuff like that. Just, you know, respect the rules, respect the social distancing. This was not doing that. This is a blatant disrespect of social distancing. Talking is not that. Getting food is not that. This was a violation. Is it an asshole move? I don't think so, but I do think
this person was just like not thinking.
Not thinking. Yeah, it was a stupid move, and they should have been called out because it was stupid. I'm more just like him trying to rationalize, oh, there's already cross-contamination. Oh, it's like, no, you did something wrong. You made a mistake. Don't do it again.
Yeah, I think that's dumb.
So I think we might agree. I don't know. AITA for getting mad at my roommate for fist bumping. Well, no, I'm saying no way. Your roommate did the more wrong thing. I mean, I guess I could say no assholes here because it was just an unthinking thing, but then he got all defensive and weird. No, I'm saying NTA and the roommate is an asshole.
I think he's the asshole for like doubling down.
Yes.
And being like, oh, there's already cross-contamination. It's like, yeah, but you didn't need to go for a fist bump.
You blatantly violated social distancing, bruh. You fucked up, and then you tried to act like you tried to rationalize and minimalize, and you were wrong. You made a small mistake that doesn't make you an asshole, but then doubling down makes you an asshole. We agree there.
Yeah.
AITA for getting mad at my roommate for fist bumping. We do agree. NTA and the roomie is. Guys, it's been 1 year with Sarah. Sarah, I can't thank you enough. I'm excited to get the seamless order for you. Which direction are you going? Are we going dessert? Are we going...
I have no idea. I could always do a chip. We love a chip over here.
Chip, you guys, makes these giant chocolate chip and other kinds of cookies. So I think a cookie is a great way to celebrate the pod's 1 year. And thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We love it. We love everything. We love you guys. And we'd love to hear anything at any time. Submit at oldaitapod.com. And
I was like, wait a sec, what?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Just AITApod.com. It's neither old nor young.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you, though. That's what I want to say. Thank you to you, Sarah. Thank you to the listeners. You know, it's only a year, but it's added a lot to my life. Even though I still am an asshole and an idiot, I have improved.
You're not an idiot.
I have improved. I mean, I'm an idiot in the moment at times, for sure.
So are we all.
That's it. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next Monday morning.
Bye.